MPs vote for a smoking ban despite the Tories' division over the policy. I'm going to read into this more from The Guardian, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from The Guardian with the headline of MPs vote for a smoking ban despite the Tories' division over the policy. Rishi Sunak suffers a blow to his authority as 57 of his own MPs vote against the plan and over 100 abstain. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share this across social media so others are notified of this video. So before we read into the numbers of those who voted and abstained, I just want to point something about my position on how I feel about smoking. Now, I'm not a smoker. I tried smoking once when I was younger and I didn't like it. That was just my personal preference. For some people, it helps them. It helps them relieve stress and coping with certain things. Smoking for some, it's just something. It's just a pleasure thing for some. For others, it's just an addiction that they just can't help themselves get off. I always like to make the comparison towards alcohol, and some people may disagree with me when I try to make some of the comparisons towards it, because whatever you might think of alcohol, you drink it because it's a thing of pleasure. You like drinking because of the taste and the taste and how it's sweet, or whatever the feeling that you have when you drink the alcoholic beverage. And that's what some people have when it comes to smoking. Is alcohol good for you? Of course it's not. It's not good for your. It's not good for your body. But neither is smoking as well. And this is where I try to make that interpretation between it. Outright banning smoking is a stupid idea. It's a really stupid idea. I don't know why the Conservatives are going with this. And what's even worse is I don't know why Labour are going with this too. Now, why am I calling this stupid? Well, you need to understand something, yeah? Now, while it's all well and good saying that you want people to stop smoking and we want to reduce the amount of smoking. Then don't get me wrong. Ever since, we stopped people from smoking inside buildings, inside pubs and whatnot, we've significantly in the UK have reduced the amount of people smoking. And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. I'm not taking anything away from that. But you can't stop people who smoke who want to smoke. You can't outright stop it. Yeah, it's the same. This is the same premise you have. Imagine if they did an outright ban on alcohol, how you would feel about that. Because this is the same premise here. For me, what we've been doing with regards to smoking and how difficult it is for people to get their hands on smoking, how expensive it is, I think that's been more than fair to make it difficult for people. What essentially you are doing with this smoking ban is you're creating a black market. People will still find ways to smoke. People will still smuggle smoking into the country. And by basically taking it away from the shops and the counters smoking, you're just going to create a black market for it. Rather than an economy that is there. Yes, it doesn't make a big difference in terms of an economy-wise, but people will still pay to smoke. People will still go out of their way to find fags and whatnot. They will still go out of their ways to smoke. Now, another counter argument could be against this is that, yeah, but Regan, a lot of people are turning to vaping. Yes, a lot of people are turning to vaping. Though some people won't go down that vaping road. Some people will prefer to smoke as well. And vaping has its issues as well. I know it has its issues. And yes, some people will say that it has made a difference to their lives. And yeah, that's good for you. I'm glad, yeah, if it has made your life and got you off smoking, I'm happy for you. I generally mean that. But vaping also has its flaws as well. Let's be very clear about that. It's no perfect thing. I would say it's a lesser damage to your body, but it still does cause damage to your body. But again, it's another kind of industry like smoking was, and that's what it is. But I just don't agree with this premise that we should be banning smoking outright. I think we should make it difficult for people to buy to get their hands on smoke for those who want to smoke. But I don't believe we should be banning it outright. It's not the way to deal with a problem. The deal with these addictions and whatnot is to give these people the help they need, to encourage them alternatives, to encourage substitutes and whatnot. That's how we do it. Banning it doesn't fix the problem. You're not fixing those who are addicted to the problem. And for me, I also see this as a way of people just going to jump, okay, you're going to stop me smoking, I'm just going to get hooked onto something else. Or they're going to, we have drugs, a lot of drugs in the UK as well, that people take as well. Like, imagine if you turn some of these drugs and made them legal, and they were actually driving money for the economy. Like, it's not a lot of money, but it's still money, and it goes into our economy. Now, that's the way I see this. I also see this from an economic point of view, as well as a political point of view, as well as dealing with an addiction point of view here. But that's my position, and you can fundamentally agree with me and say banning smoking outright is a good thing, and we shouldn't be introducing it, and we should have it completely outright gone from the UK. And that's your position. That's totally fine if you want to take that position. But I fundamentally disagree with this position that we should be banning smoking outright. It's not right in my view. And while I understand those positions, I think there are better ways to deal with smoking. So a ban on smoking for future generations moves a step closer last night, but Rishi Sunak suffered a blow to his authority after dozens of Conservative MPs voted against it. The House of Commons voted by 383 to 67 in favour of the Prime Minister's plan to make it illegal for anyone born in 2009 or later to buy tobacco products in the UK. The legislation which would effectively ban smoking for future generations by raising the legal age every year, is seen by the Prime Minister's allies as a key part of his political legacy. However, the result voted against by 57 Tory MPs. Sorry, I'm getting a bit of reflux, apologies. Including Kemi Badenoch, a likely future leadership contender, and 5 other ministers, underlined the depth of division within the party and even over Sunak's flagship policy. Labour has thrown its weight behind the plan, which was unveiled at the Tory party conference in October, ensuring it sailed through the Commons. More than 100 Tory MPs abstained, although some of them have been abstained from the Commons for reasons unrelated to the vote. Badenoch, the business secretary, was the only cabinet minister to vote against the legislation. She said that before the vote she had significant concerns because the legislation meant that people born a day apart will have permanently different rights. I also get that, I know some people will argue that she's doing it for political reasons in terms of a leadership challenge and whatnot, to say that she was against that. But the point there about, some people have different rights on smoking than others, I get that point. She told LBC after the vote, "I don't think the ends justify the means. The principle I was against was treating adults differently, and that's how I would enforce it. It doesn't feel right to me." Again, whether you believe that or not, I from my perspective, that's kind of I can see that as well. From an age perspective as well. 5 other ministers, Julia Lopez, Alex Bundon, Steve Baker, Lee Rowley and Andrew Griffin, also voted against it. Penny Mordaunt, the Commons leader, was among dozens of MPs who abstained. Conservative MPs were given a free vote, although Andrea Leadsom, the junior health minister in charge of the bill, contacted some of them to make the government's case. Opposition to the plan was led by the former Prime Minister Liz Truss, who told the Commons she was very concerned it was emblematic of a technocratic establishment in this country that wants to limit people's freedoms. Liz, you don't have a leg to stand on, and the fact that you actually came and actually did your job for a change is quite shocking, to say the least. I cannot wait to see her ousted as an MP so she can no longer have any power. Tory critics said her proposal would result in adults being treated differently according to their age, and it was a slippery slope that could lead to bans on fast food and alcohol. Some MPs argued the plan would encourage an illegal tobacco trade that would be difficult to enforce. And this is exactly what I'm saying. This is exactly it. An illegal tobacco trade, you're literally going to create a black market for smoking. This is exactly what we're doing. We're already having quite a trade being established. I've covered the story a while ago. I don't know if it was on here or on the Patreon, where Belarus was smuggling in cigarettes, trafficking it into Europe from Belarus. And it's also getting into the UK as well. I'm pretty sure it was a Patreon video. But and that kind of stuff is only going to increase coming in to the UK, because we're not going to be doing smoking anymore. The other argument people were saying, well, how some people were arguing, and I've seen this in some of the comments as well in other streams, and YouTubers were saying, how are shopkeepers meant to police this? Well, the simple answer is, if you want to buy fags, you literally have to show them your ID, which has your date of birth on it. And that's how they'll enforce it. That's the way they'll have to enforce it. And then they'll have to calculate from your date of birth to what your age is, rather than taking the word to mouth over the counter. It sounds stupid, but that's the only way the shopkeepers are going to be able to follow the rules down to the T, without getting in trouble for breaking it. I think that's the only way they're going to be able to kind of do it. So if you don't have a calculator behind your counter, shopkeepers, you're going to need one. Among those who voted against the ban were Truss, the former Business Secretary Simon Clarke, the former Home Secretary Suella Braverman, and the former Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick. Several Tory MPs with links to the vaping industry spoke in opposition to the bill. Mark Eastwood, the Vice Chair of the All-Parliamentary Group for Responsible Vaping, argued it would push people from vaping to smoking. How is it going to push people from vaping to smoking? Answers on a postcard, please. Adam Alfrey, who received an award last year from a vaping industry group, said it could not support the proposal because it would treat adults differently according to their age. The legislation would not ban vaping, but would introduce greater restrictions, especially on marketing vapes at younger people. The plan for a smoking ban is modelled on proposals in New Zealand, which were repeated earlier this year before they took effect by a new right-wing government in Wellington. Senior Tories, including Sajid Javid, the former Health Secretary Steve Bray, the chair of the Health Select Committee, spoke in favour of the legislation, but said it would relieve pressure on the NHS and free future generations from smoking addictions. Polling by Savannah published on the Tuesday suggested that 64% of Conservative voters were in favour of the plan. Can we honestly say that this drug enhanced personal freedom and liberty and freedom? This is a nonsense argument. Anyone who makes this argument, they are choosing to stand up for big tobacco against the interests of their constituents, Javid told MPs. The Guardian revealed this week that tobacco firms were lobbying politicians to oppose the legislation and instead support raising the smoking age from 18 to 21 in an attempt to avoid an outright ban. Given what we know is the right course to protect future generations from this drug and its addictions, the freedom from pain, from disease and inequality is one of the greatest freedoms that there is, Javid said. Victoria Atkins, the Health Secretary, who's not very clever, told the Commons before the vote that there was no liberty in addiction. Nicotine robs people of their freedoms to choose, she said. Yeah, so does alcohol, but we don't hear the massive outcry in banning alcohol, do we? The vast majority of smokers start when they are young, and 3/4 say they could have turned back the clock, they would not have started. Labour used Tory opponents' arguments to mock the government and pointed to former Tory ministers linked to tobacco companies. West Street, in the useless West Street, told Shadow Health Secretary told the Commons of all the policies the Conservatives have adopted from the Labour Party in the past few years. Nothing shows our dominance in the battle of ideas more than this latest calpivation. We happily align ourselves with the big health in defence of the nation, and we are only too happy to defend the Health Secretary against the siren voices of big tobaccos we see gathering around the former Prime Minister in the corner of the chamber. A stop clock is right twice a day, and I find myself agreeing with the former Prime Minister. This is absolutely an unconservative bill. It is a Labour bill, and we are delighted to see the government bring it forward. After the vote, Deborah Arnott, the Chief Executive of Action on Smoking and Health, said Parliament has today begun the process of consigning smoking to the ash heap of history. However, this is only the first step. The bill must now go through the committee, and another vote be going through the same process in the House of Lords. The passage of the bill should be expected to ensure on the statutory books before the general election. I just a part of me, guys, is just feel like I understand the benefits of outright getting rid of smoking, but there will always be something that people will need to find their addictions to. People have issues and people have problems, and I generally just considering the situation that we are in right now. When is this a good time to be doing this as well? I just don't think it's right to outright ban it. I'm in total in agreement of making it difficult for people to buy cigarettes. I'm totally in favor of making it difficult and making it more expensive. I'm totally in favor of that. I really, really am, guys. But I just don't agree with outright banning it. I really don't agree with this premise. Like I said at the start, you're just creating a black market for this. And yes, it will. Will it make, in my opinion, will it outright stop kids from smoking? I don't think so. I think there's still going to be ways that that people will find ways to it, and it also turns some people from smoking into vaping. The argument they said about turning from vaping to smoking, I guess, is on the premise of the fact that smoking, it may be easy to get their hands on, possibly because of the age difference and whatnot. I guess that's the point of where it is as well, as the age gap continues to change. But yeah, it's a weird policy because of how you do it with the age thing. But I mean, they could have done it. They could have done it just a cut-off point if they really wanted to do this. But I'm on the fence of this is wrong. I'm still on the fence of this is wrong to ban it outright. Because if I was to say we should ban alcohol because alcohol can lead to people doing silly things, can lead to violence, could lead to terrible things, just like how smoking kills people, many people will be up in arms in the comment section. But I would be hypocritical because I do sometimes drink myself very, very lightly as well. But it is. Smoking is something that we have in this country, and I'm not going to speak for other nations because it's not right. But for me, when we introduced the smoking ban, it really hurt the pubs, it really hurt restaurants, it really hurt a lot of places. But we became a lot healthier as a nation when we did that. It was great that it was done, and it made a massive difference. But I do wonder whether this is a line too far. That's kind of where I sit. But what do you guys honestly think? Do you think banning smoking outright is good for the country? Do you think it's the right thing to do? Do you agree with me that we shouldn't be banning smoking outright and we should just continue to make it difficult and more expensive for people to get their hands on smoking instead of opening up a potential black market for it? Let me know what you guys honestly think about the smoking ban and more in the comment section down below. If you've watched all the way through, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Please hit the like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further and financially support me in the work I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. Or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content there as well. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.